Well, hello, Becca. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to chat with you and about your journey here on YouTube. I know you've gone through a whole bunch of different niche topics and trying to kind of figure out where you fit on YouTube. So take our viewers and listeners through kind of the Cliff Notes version of your journey of when you started and how you ended up settling into the wellness niche that you're in now.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, like you said, it has been a journey. So I've been doing YouTube for 3 years now. It's coming up to 3 years, which is crazy. I can't believe it. That feels about right, but at the same time, it's gone so fast. So it's an odd one. And I started it after I had graduated from uni. So I had a music degree. And I honestly didn't know what to do with it, which I feel like a lot of people relate to. Sort of that post-grad crisis. And I always was a big fan of YouTube. I grew up watching like Zoella, all those kind of like old school YouTubers, and I loved it, but I never thought about actually doing it myself. And I guess I started out with, I thought like I could do covers for my singing, and that's obviously such a great place to like host that and get your music out there. So that is actually why I started a channel in the first place. And then through that, I kind of wanted to experiment with like lifestyle videos since like I was a consumer of that and I loved that content. So I fell into that, and then it wasn't until I started like trying all of that I realized I love editing so much, and I loved like learning new things every week, making my videos better every week. And like you said, I went through so many niches just trying to find like my feet on YouTube and what my audience actually wanted from me, and also like what was trendy but kind of like sustainable in the long run as well. So I tried like fashion as a niche, but I personally, like, I didn't find it super sustainable, like buying clothes to do hauls every week. That just wasn't me. And I don't think my audience was like resonating with it that well. And then the wellness side of it all came when I tried just like a morning routine, the most generic sort of lifestyle video there is out there. And it's people have been doing it for years, as you know, I'm sure. And it wasn't until then I started to see like, oh, people actually really like this stuff, and I really enjoy making it. And it really has just grown from there. It wasn't until that point that I started seeing like actual proper growth, which was really exciting. And then just finding different videos within that niche and that world that I can do. So yeah, that's my little summary.
Yeah, and for anybody that is familiar with your channel and watches your videos, there's definitely a almost like cinematic quality to them. And you had touched on the fact that you enjoyed editing, and you know that's something that you're learning. How did you learn to edit so well? Because I'm assuming when you first uploaded your first video, it was more focusing on the music, and you maybe didn't have those editing skills. Maybe you did, I don't know. But how did you get to the point where your editing is where it is today?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Yeah. I had experience in like music production, and I knew how to record vocals, and like I knew my way around GarageBand and music production. However, the world of editing and visuals, I was super new to. I remember it was actually the summer before I started YouTube, Amazon was doing like a flash deal sale, and they had a camera on for a pretty good deal. And I was like, okay, I'm going to manifest this. If I buy this camera, I have to start doing YouTube. Of course, at the time it was like, okay, music. But I learned a lot, honestly, through trial and error, and also through watching so many other creators. I would be like, oh, how do they do that? How do they do that transition, those effects and everything? And you can learn everything online. That's the incredible thing about YouTube, is there's so many tutorials out there. So many. So I'd say that's probably where I learned the most, just from literally typing into YouTube, how do I do this? And also experimenting with things like plugins, sort of additional things you can download to add into your editing software and just make it more unique and almost more cinematic, like you said. and sort of like moving up in terms of software. So I think a lot of people start on iMovie. I started on iMovie. And then you hit a point where there's just like too many things you can't do on it, too many restrictions. And then I moved on to Final Cut Pro, which obviously is an investment for your channel. And so I get asked a lot, like, what should I use? I want to start a YouTube channel. What editing software do you use? And I never recommend starting with like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere Pro. There are free softwares out there which are great. So I always say, like, learn your way around those first before you go onto something a bit more professional or like industry standard. Yeah, that's how I learned to edit. And I'm still learning, like, every day. I still love to learn new effects and everything. So I love it.
At what point did you feel like you were really proficient with editing? Like, how many videos in would you feel like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm really getting this?
That's a good point. When I first started, I was uploading like 3 times a week.
Okay.
I was super keen to just get as much out there. In my mind, it was more like quantity over quality, and the quality just came over time. And now quality is more my priority. In terms of like when I kind of saw that switch, I think it was just a genuine curiosity that came from me about like, how does the world of editing actually work? How do these softwares work, and how can I get the most out of them? And then it probably was when I moved on to Final Cut Pro, which, how long was that? I'm going to say like 6 months in to doing YouTube was around, that's when I got Final Cut Pro. And that's when you open this software and it's like all these weird little things that you can do. And at first it's overwhelming. I think it puts a lot of people off. But yeah, when you get your hands around it, it's definitely worth it for sure.
Yeah. And how often do you upload now? And then how long does it take you to put together one of your, say, because these are the most popular, your morning routine, your routine videos? Yeah.
I upload once a week on average now. Okay. So a lot less than when I first started, but I don't see like the negative impacts of that. It's actually, I feel like for me and my audience, what I do, it impacts my channel positively if I'm uploading just higher quality content less frequently, still being consistent. Like I do believe if you want to grow, it's like the most generic advice I know, if you want to grow on any platform, it's consistency, right? Yeah, always. But it's true, and that is like the number one rule. And so I have always promised myself like at least one video a week, and I really have been doing that for 3 years, which is crazy. So how long it takes me to put a video together nowadays, I'd say I generally take like a day to film, and then I'm gonna call it like a day and a half to edit. Completely depends on the video. If it is like a morning routine that's all aesthetic and cinematic and there's like a voiceover, they generally do take longer, just because I do want it to be a bit more like movie-like. I don't mind taking my time on those. However, if it's like a more chatty daily vlog, then I try to edit those in like definitely a day, 8 hours or so. That's the thing with a day, like editing. A normal work day is like 8 hours, right? But an editing day for me probably is like 10 plus. And you just get like sucked into it. I love those editing days though. So it's a lot of work. Sit there and kind of just go. So yeah, you say one day, but the reality is it's like, what would you say? Like 10 hours, 12 hours? Yeah, 10 to 12, which is long. Do the editing. Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. I say one day, but it's like actually probably more like 16 hours if it's like a day and a half or whatever. Oh, that's right, day and a half. So 16 hours to actually edit. But you like, it sounds like you like just doing it and just kind of not breaking and just doing it all in one sitting. Yeah, which I don't recommend. I don't think that's healthy. But that's like what I've been used to because I've been doing a full-time job the whole time. So it has been like, hey, you got to edit today. Like it has to be done today. And so that's always been a huge drive for me. And I'm like, okay, I still want to keep up that momentum now that I'm full time. Like, I still got to work quick, but like just do a lot more with my time as
So
well.
would you do it on the weekends, the editing and your YouTube stuff?
Yeah, like evenings, weekends.
Oh.
Any time.
Okay, so you were working around your full-time job, but it sounds like you just recently went full-time. How long ago was that?
A week ago.
Oh.
Like really recently.
Well, really recent. Okay. What made you decide to go all in on YouTube, and what were you doing before?
So I was a social media manager for a company in London. That's where I live. And I had been doing that for a year. And I got that job because of my YouTube channel, because I had that kind of experience in that portfolio, and they wanted someone who knew how to edit and obviously knew the social media world. So, and I really loved that job. And that's why it was a hard decision. It came down to YouTube for me recently in the past few months it's turned into a full-time job. And I've been blessed to work with like incredible brands. I've also signed on with an agency my manager is amazing, and she sources me work like almost every week, which is crazy. So yeah, it was becoming too much pressure and way too much stress. I felt like I wasn't doing either job, YouTube or my full-time job, like to the full potential. So that was getting me down, and like work-life balance just was terrible. I had just moved to London like almost a year ago now. It was for that job. And like trying to, make friends, make time on the weekend to socialize and see people. I didn't kind of think about how hard that would be and how that impacts you on like in the long run, you know, and you're inevitably going to come across burnout, and then you can't do anything. You have to hit pause, and stop. So yeah, I had to make the decision, but it's been good. I definitely feel like now is the right time, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and so it's recent. How do you plan on possibly changing the way you go about your YouTube, whether it's, your schedule or maybe changing something about your content? Like, I'm sure there's a million things that were running through your head of this is what I'm going to do now with all this time. Yeah. What are some of those things?
So potentially upload a little bit more regularly. I think only like twice a week, and most weeks probably still will be like once, just to keep that like level of quality high, but also not feel like I'm running out of ideas or coming into like creative block. So right now that works for me. In terms of like the bigger picture, next year I would love to launch something. I have ideas of like digital product, and even one day if I could release like a physical product, that would be a dream. That'd be like the big goal. And it is such a blessing that I have an audience that are incredibly supportive. So yeah, it'd be exciting to see how that goes. All of that is very much still in the works, and it's stuff like I've had in my mind for a while, but there was like no way I could add on that kind of challenge and extra thing on top of working full time and just trying to keep my YouTube channel alive. Also growing on other platforms. I'm on Instagram, but I'm considerably smaller over there because I'm just not consistent on there. And I would love to grow and kind of just find like my feet on Instagram, what kind of content I like making. Maybe TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think working it out.
Yeah, the possibilities. I'm sure there's a lot now, but it probably you're at this point. You're like, oh, let me just take a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, but then I want to do Vlogmas because that's coming up, and so that won't be a breather.
Are you gonna do Vlogmas? You're gonna do I'm gonna do try every single day.
I'm gonna try my absolute best, which will be very crazy for me because I am someone who likes to take my time with videos and editing, like I've just said. I can't take 10, 16 hours to edit a video during Vlogmas, so I'll have to change like my filming style for sure. I don't know. It's an experiment. It's definitely just like a challenge for me to see if I can. It might all flop. We'll see. But yeah, it's exciting. I have wanted to do it for a while, but I've never been able to until now.
I think with Vlogmas, I don't think it could ever be a flop because the point, I think, with Vlogmas, especially with creators, especially if you've never done it before, is you said it a little bit, like experiment with different types of videos or change your style a little bit, is that when you're uploading so often, you're forced to, you know, come up with different ideas, experiment with different things, try different things, show your audience like just something new and different from you. And so it's kind of like an intense, hardcore boot camp practice for YouTubers of just like getting that content up every day. So, you know, it's really, I think, how most people should approach it is like, okay, you know, the results, whatever, you know, depend, you know, views, new subscribers, but it's really you forcing yourself to just fully commit to YouTube as like a 24/7 thing for a month and like fast tracking your skills as a creator.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a huge challenge. I think I'm going to have to plan it like, okay, you only have 2 hours to edit each morning. So see what you put together. Thumbnail wise as well. Like a thumbnail takes me an hour normally. So, yeah. You can tell I'm scared.
Yeah. I mean, you could even do, you know, if you only do one video a week, you could even just do like 3, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be necessarily every day. More than what you're doing now, I think.
No, exactly.
There's no hard or fast rules, right? So
that's it.
Yeah.
Wise words. Yeah.
So a lot of your content are these routines. So how do you keep that fresh? Or, you know, I'm wondering if you ever think like, okay, well, this is my routine. How many more times can I talk about it? How do you come up with fresh ideas for that type of content? Is that even an issue for you? Maybe there's just so many different things you feel called to do.
No, it's an issue. It's definitely an issue. And because I know my audience love that content, and so I do feel like that pressure there, obviously, to deliver that and not wait 6 months in between morning routines. But at the same time, yeah, like how different can each video be? So for me, like a big rule I have is I know I can do like a seasonal one. And they tend to perform pretty well for me. Like I just did my autumn morning routine and also evening routine, and they did well for my channel. And then always like in the new year, people, you know, it's just when people are searching for that kind of stuff, you got to know when to release it. You got to be early to the trend, and people will watch. So it's about just a creative challenge. Like, how am I going to make this different to what I did 3 months ago? Like realistically, my morning routine hasn't changed that much. So it is a challenge. And for me, I think it also comes down to like editing and just keeping my style like fresh, but you can still identify that video is mine. Still like on brand for me. I guess an example would be for this autumn morning routine and like the autumn content, I knew I wanted to up my game a bit, so I invested in a way better camera than what I had been using. And so that keeps me motivated to try and capture like new shots and okay, how can I make this different? But for sure, it's a struggle. And I don't know, just new stuff comes up every time I do a routine. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I definitely think the seasonal thing helps, and you know the fact that you can focus on different times of the day. Like there's 2 routines at least, you know, morning and night. You got that, right?
Exactly. I'll always have that.
Yeah, or even like a weekday versus weekend can be.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like people can't get enough of that kind of content.
Yeah, I know, and that's why it's so crazy that it has been around for years. And when I tell my friends, like my friends who I know don't really watch YouTube, and they're like, "What do you do? Morning routines?" Like that's so weird to them.
Yeah, that
like, people watch that, and I completely get it. Like everyone goes to YouTube for a different thing, but I'm like, there are people out there who watch that stuff.
Love it.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. A lot of my audience is actually in America. Which I find interesting. I'm not too sure like why that's ended up the way it has. But yeah, it's
Love
cool
it.
that it's like reaching way wider than just the UK. So yeah, that's a really nice part of it.
Yeah, very cool. All right, now we're nearing the second part of the interview, and that's where I ask you the same questions that I ask everybody that's come on to the show. You ready, Becca?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right.
Let's do it.
So the first question is, what is your number one struggle with YouTube?
Oh my gosh. See, I like know these questions come up, but I was like not preparing answers just to see what would come to me.
I like it. I don't like giving people, I mean, granted, I asked if you are familiar with the show, then, you know, I ask these same questions, but I don't like people to be prepared. I want to just be like,
exactly.
You know,
your gut, proper gut reaction. Biggest struggle with YouTube, you know what, honestly, is actually what we just touched on, and it's trying to create fresh content from the stuff I religiously do, those routines, the wellness videos. Like, I always hit a point in the month or something where I'm like, okay, I've already done like my monthly reset, I've already done the morning routine, like what do I do? And sometimes like my daily vlogs won't perform as well, but that's normal. And so like, yeah, I don't know, I need to get better at that. But I think now that I'm full time, I'll have more like thinking time to be creative with my approach to all of that. And that also was like the biggest struggle with YouTube was time. And I've recently made the transition to, do this full time. Should be better now.
Yeah, definitely. If you were to start over right now with your YouTube channel, what, if anything, would you do differently?
I feel like one of the biggest lessons I've learned is with editing, more, what is that saying? Less is more. Yeah, there we go. I've learned that for sure. Less is more. Like, I remember my editing style 2 years ago was like, oh, GIFs here and like border and effects and transitions. And it's like your viewer is so stimulated that they kind of like disengage.
Yeah.
That's found. Especially with social media, like the content that sits on social media is meant to be sort of less highly produced, more humanized, and that's why people really resonate with it. And also like doing videos like that and all that editing would take so much time. So I wish I definitely knew that in the start. Like, yeah, you don't have to show off like every single editing skill that you have. It's way more about like, does your video actually have meaning and adds value?
I love that. How did you come to realize that?
I think just seeing like as I started doing that kind of content, just slightly less produced and edited, more humanized, like I said, I saw the views go up, I saw the subscribers go up, like the stats really did back that up. And people were still complimenting my editing. So yeah.
What is your favorite video that you've uploaded onto your channel?
Ooh, I love that question. My favorite one is probably when I picked up my little dachshund puppy, Mochi. I filmed like the day we went to go get him. So like in terms of sentimental value, that one, oh my gosh, I can rewatch it again and again. It always makes me emotional. I love that video so much. Or actually saying that, like I got engaged this summer. And so I made, like, that video didn't perform very well at all, but it's for me and my fiance.
Yeah.
I just put together like a little 5-minute emotional video for us, a little montage. So actually, yeah, that probably has to take the number one spot.
Aww, love it. What is your number one tip for preserving your mental health as a YouTube creator?
Oh my gosh. Your mindset has to be that you love what you're doing and you love content creation, and you have to forget that, yeah, you can make money from this. It can be a job and all of that's really exciting, but it's never going to be if you do not have that love and just natural passion for YouTube. And you're not on it, like as a consumer, like you have to know what's going on and everything. So I feel like if you're going through periods where you kind of feel like you're just pushing out content for the sake of it to keep up with the algorithm, like that's gonna play a toll massively on your mental health. You're gonna fall out of love with it, and that's just like not a healthy relationship at all to have with YouTube. So find whatever you love about it and just keep doing that. Focus on that. That's what I think.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to just give up on your YouTube channel? What happened there, and how did you get back on track, if so?
Yeah, so I know this is a huge thing with YouTubers, and I know some other people who are YouTubers, and they've said like, oh yeah, I went through that period where I almost gave up, and I think it's something a lot of people relate to, but without sounding fake, like genuinely, I have never wanted to give up, which I think is rare. I have always loved the video editing side of it. And again, for me, like when I left uni, like this was my creative outlet. This is where I found purpose. And that sounds so dramatic, but it has changed my life. And I think I saw, even though my growth was like steady and slow, I saw day by day how much like it made me grow personally and professionally. It granted me the opportunity to move to London and work for a company. Like I wouldn't have been able to predict that a year before that. Like it is crazy. And so I genuinely I've never thought about quitting. I'm sure that day will come. So yeah.
Any video you uploaded on your channel that you were really, really excited about but just flopped?
Yeah, there must be. I feel like there's so many from like my early days, obviously. I'm trying to think of one in particular. I guess like my engagement video, it's not that I was expecting it to do well, but for some reason like it really underperformed compared to my videos at the time. So I found that interesting. It didn't like get me down or anything. It was just like, oh, okay, good to know. So like I
You're like, good to know. I won't be doing this one again. I'm only getting engaged once, but that's good to know.
Exactly. I won't be coming out with a wedding series probably. I don't think people are interested, and that's completely fine. That is fine. I feel like there were probably quite a few at the start, even though I'm struggling to think of an example, but like you would see other creators of a similar size to you who were creating similar content, and then you'd see one video would like blow up for them, and I would jump on that trend, but then it would flop. And I'd be like, oh, why is the algorithm not pushing my video? I can remember one actually, I think like 2 years ago, I was like redecorating my office, my little study room, and I put in so much effort with that video. Obviously you gotta like, it's like a whole load of money, and you gotta change up everything. I was doing like wallpaper, and I was thinking like this is gonna perform well, and then it did terribly. I remember. But you gotta definitely not let it get you down, because there's a reason, and you just try again next week, and you probably still learned something from that video, and at least you were consistent. So yeah,
definitely. What is your biggest opportunity you got as a result of being on YouTube?
Biggest opportunity, I guess the ability to go full time. I fully acknowledge that is a blessing to be able to make enough income each month to sustain my lifestyle. It's a blessing, and I am forever grateful for that. I also was nominated for the Scottish Influencer Awards like a month ago.
That's cool.
Yeah, which was really cool. It was their first year doing that, because I'm Scottish, born and raised. So it was obviously an absolute honor to be nominated. Just honestly, like meeting amazing other creators, like some of the opportunities I've had, the events you get invited to. Every time I go to an event, I'm like, I don't understand, like why I get to be here. I'm so lucky. It's such a privilege. You see, incredible brands put in so much effort to work with influencers, and that's an incredibly exciting thing that like influencer marketing is becoming way more prominent in a lot of companies, like marketing strategies. So yeah, I don't think it's really going anywhere, and I'm gonna see where this goes.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say has kept you going over the last, sounds like you've been doing it about 3 years, the last 3 years as a creator?
My gut reaction to that, my gut response is, without it sounding corny, my fiance, for sure. We've been together for the past like over 4 years now, so throughout my whole YouTube journey. And we've lived together the whole time, and he's always been like my little cheerleader, even when my channel was so small and it might have been like, okay, why are you like keeping up with this? I don't know, some partners are like, don't want to be in the video and stuff, or like, find what you're doing cringy, and why are you uploading videos on the internet? Why are you showing our personal life? But he's always been incredible. He's always got it. He's always got my vision. And I can't thank him enough for that. So I think number one is always him.
Strong
That's
support.
kind of
I love that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
That's
important.
great. Yeah. What is your superpower that you think has led to your success on YouTube?
Ooh, my superpower. I think I have to say, like, just loving editing, and like, yeah. Oh, that sounds quite boring.
I think that's a huge superpower for YouTube. A lot of people don't like editing.
Yeah, I find that so interesting. A lot of people like to like outsource, obviously, to editors, and they love the filming side, but I definitely prefer the editing side. I mean, they come hand in hand. You have to do both. But for sure, just like being someone who's motivated and eager to get good at editing and learn. And also, I think because I have a creative background, obviously with like music, I was a singer, not really anymore. That's always helped me, just being like naturally a creative person. So yeah, editing.
Yeah, very cool. And last question, what is your number one piece of advice you would tell somebody who is just starting out on YouTube?
Number one, I'm going to think of something different to just consistency.
Yeah.
Because everyone, I'm sure everyone says that, and that is the number one. Number one
be consistent.
rule. Oh my God, for sure. But I think find like what makes you different. Why, like, really put yourself in the shoes of your audience, your viewers. Like, why are they watching you? Why are they coming back every single week to watch you? And that might be value. It might be your editing style. It might be how you make someone feel. It's incredible to receive messages from people saying like, oh my gosh, you've motivated me so much this week. I love your videos. Like, nothing is more rewarding than that. Having strangers from across the world, like, you know, you've impacted them a little bit today. That's crazy. So, yeah, I think that's my answer. Just think about adding value.
Yeah, that's huge too. That's huge. I mean, the thing is that with YouTube, there's so many moving parts of it, and there's just so many parts of it that are important. So value is a big one. So Becca, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I'm so glad that you were able to share a little bit about yourself and your story. For our viewers and listeners that aren't familiar with your channel, where can they find you?
Yeah, so if you type in Becca Watson into YouTube, I should come up. And my @ on Instagram is just Becca Maria Watson. So that's where.
Well, thank you so much. This has been great.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that interview and you learned a lot from it. Now, if you have a YouTube channel or considering starting a YouTube channel that you're serious about growing and you want the best of the best when it comes to personalized feedback, advice, and up-to-the-minute YouTube strategy, then consider my Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp for Women. I have been running this bootcamp since 2018, and we have hundreds upon hundreds of very successful students that have gone through the program. And I can go on and on about the YouTube Bootcamp, but I want you to hear it directly from some of the women themselves.
I feel so lucky that I got to do Erika's boot camp.
Before joining Erika's boot camp, my channel was all over the place. I didn't know what I was talking about.
I would hear people say that I need to find my why and my voice and my audience and understand my target audience, but I never felt like I really understood what that meant.
Erika helped me come up with YouTube video ideas. She helped me with consistency. She helps me to interpret my analytics.
I started with 12,000 subscribers and now I have over 50,000 and it is growing rapidly.
My channel has grown almost 100,000 subscribers.
I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this place in such a short amount of time without Erika's bootcamp.
What makes Erika special is that she has been talking to and analyzing YouTube channels for years, and that has given her this bank of knowledge to pull from.
I'm constantly asking her questions about YouTube. I'm asking her advice about my YouTube channel.
Taking the Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp was one of the best
decision I could have ever made for myself, for my channel, for my own personal growth as a human being. I could not be happier.
I love that it has reinvigorated me in such a beautiful way. So I am so happy that I've joined.
You're crazy not to hire her. Get on it. All right.